There, you awakening wonders. Then, as now, the world is in crisis. But this crisis is our opportunity to bring the light, and surely we will bring the light. What extraordinary stories we have today. If you're in the UK, you'll know that pharmaceutical companies have been literally selling HIV-infected blood to the public, even though they knew that was the case. And yet, when people are cynical about the pharmaceutical industry, what are they? Conspiracy theorists. Get over here right now and join us, you lunatics. This is where freedom is. Check it out, that great symbol of freedom. Also, we are coming to learn that the Trump trial is ever more extraordinary. The debates don't seem that legitimate or likely to take place. Have you seen the great and swaggering Joe Biden offering out Donald Trump, but with a series of extraordinary conditions? We'll be talking about this story and so much more, as well as commentating continually on the shifting poles of our culture. I might talk about Seinfeld for a little moment and that speech he gave, and how Seinfeld has become a controversial figure. Doesn't that tell you something about the way that the culture is kind of undulating? That Jeremy Seinfeld, he didn't make sense as Jeremy Seinfeld, does he? Jerry Seinfeld, who in a sense made his name by finding the extraordinary in banality, has become a controversial figure. I see that as a kind of barometer for how the world now is becoming so fraught and taut and inexplicably broken and raw. It's so difficult to be a person now. It's so difficult to envisage a safe passage, a way that we might be together. Do you want me to talk about the Diddy stuff? Are you interested in that? Do you guys care about it? Because I know that you lot care about the aspect of Diddy that's, I suppose, somewhat deep state. I'd like to know what evidence there is that can be corroborated around that aspect of it. I suppose the fact that he's operated in high places. I know that a lot of you guys think that there's an Epstein component. Welcome, the Brad Case, who's just joined Rumble today. Now, Rumble gets a lot of bad press, and I know what that's like. But the reason you get bad press is if you are, well, there are a number of reasons. Of course, some people get bad press for legitimate reasons. But if you are an opponent to significant power, it is likely that you will get bad press. If you notice people in positions of significant influence, for example, being assassinated or subject to assassination attempts, if their demise would be convenient to the interests of the powerful, then at least consider that as one of the reasons why the whole damn thing is happening. If you are not a member of our Awakened Wonder community yet, like Trad Annie, who's asking me about Harrison Butker, I'm pretty interested in Harrison Butker. He's I'm so sorry that I'm English, because I don't isn't it, are they called the Kaiser Chiefs, or is it the Kansas City Chiefs? Kaiser Chiefs is a British rock and roll band from around the early 2000s. The Kansas City Chiefs. He talks about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, doesn't he? And there's been a little bit of pushback around that, and will he get invited to the White House and all that kind of stuff. Interesting. Agent Delta X, Russell's skin is glowing. What's the secret? I'll be talking to you about that secret a little later, and thank you for the compliments on the shirt as well. We asked you what you wanted us to talk about. You told us. A lot of you are interested in, the Trump trial. We've got some interesting perspectives on that. We'll be talking about Cohen. I don't know, man. We said yesterday, didn't we? If you've recently been involved in the bombing of Israel, you probably don't want to travel by helicopter. If you are participating in what increasingly appears to be a kangaroo court trial against a political opponent, then if you are the star witness, it's probably for the best if you haven't stolen from the person whose trial you're participating in. Michael Cohen has admitted to stealing tens of thousands of dollars from the Trump organization. We'll be talking about that in a little bit. And I want to draw attention to Jon Stewart's stand-up monologue at the start of The Daily Show. Now, I know how you guys feel about Jon Stewart. I like him because I think he's funny, and I like him because he stuck up for the 9/11 first responders. And I feel like stuff like that matters, you know. But we've got some interesting analysis on that, on Jon Stewart's stand-up, which I really want you to stay for. I know you're going to enjoy it. Now, you might not be British, and increasingly, I think that might be a great blessing for you. This is what's going on in our country. This is off of the BBC. That's a state-funded piece of media that was once held in incredibly high regard by all of us, but has sadly become as infected as the blood that Big Pharma sells to the state with its agenda of suppression and subjugation. Anyway, Rishi Sunak, who currently is a globalist, who's currently our Prime Minister, says he's truly sorry for the failures of the infected blood scandal, calling it a decades-long moral failure. Over the last 30 years, thousands and thousands of people have been given blood transfusions of infected blood, meaning they've got like Hep C and HIV, and some people have died of AIDS. I mean, it's an astonishing story. We'll be looking at that in a little bit. Israel and Hamas leaders are, that button's not working, guys. Israel and Hamas leaders are being, oh yeah, cool, it is. It's my fault. I pressed the wrong button. That was completely my fault. Good job. I'm not in a position of any genuine power. Because otherwise I'd be jabbing away at the wrong buttons. Imagine if missiles were being launched. I know a lot of you guys are pleased about Julian Assange. Of course, we're thrilled that Julian Assange has the right to appeal. That's so significant and important, but ultimately he's been in prison for 10 years for what amounts to, not nothing, but telling the truth and exposing the interests of the powerful. Again, how do I see this? Hold in your mind, what would the most powerful interests on earth want in this situation? And you can sort of speculate on that. Sometimes it will be difficult to corroborate, but it's like, oh, it'd be kind of convenient for them if that guy died in a helicopter crash. Oh, it'd be kind of convenient for Boeing if their key witnesses started dying. Oh, it'd be kind of convenient for the state if dissident voices were shut down and smeared. Oh, it's interesting. They're very, very lucky people. It turns out that the most powerful people in the world must have got there by this incredible four-leaf clover style perpetual luck they appear to be able to wield against the rest of us. So anyway, the International Criminal Court have announced that they're seeking arrest warrants for leaders of Israel and Hamas for war crimes. But obviously the problem that arises from that are the fact that if we were to deploy or implement the legislature that undergirds the International Criminal Court's purview, then here are some people that would have to be arrested for war crimes. Tony Blair, former British Prime Minister, war criminal. George W. Bush, President of the United States, war criminal. Barack Obama, war criminal. Joe Biden, war criminal. I don't know how we'd cope, really. Without these people to lead us, we'd be in a lot of trouble. Old Razbender has taken some time off in the Rumble stream from his usual array of expletives and extraordinary sex chat to point out that, yes, these people are indeed war criminals. Negligent Banana, free Assange in the Rumble chat right there. Yes, indeed, that would be a blessing. Here's retired US General Mark Milley saying that actually all nations are criminal in essence, and perhaps do you sometimes feel, let me know, that the perspective that we have to entertain is that we may have made assumptions about the way that nations are run. We may have made assumptions about the way the world is run. We may have not inquired deeply enough into the necessity of having centralized power in the manner that a nation state demands at all. Are you benefiting from being a citizen of your nation? Now, the globalists now will be splattering the national beverage of their chosen state. Are you aware what's been given to you by the British Empire? You sit there using technology granted to you by the miracle of crony capitalism to decry it. And of course, we're not enemies of innovation or invention or ingenuity, recognizing that AI too could provide us with a million abundant miracles coming, as it surely does, ultimately from the source of all things. But if AI ultimately ends up being deployed by the greatest powers in the world, then it will be used to control us, as all technology is. What the hell does poppycock mean, Russell? Asks no one Gundlark on the Awakened Wonder chat over there. Poppycock means balderdash. I hope that clarifies it. Here's Mark Milley saying that to participate in a nation at all is a type of criminality, although I don't think that's the point he's trying to make. Remember, if you're not an Awakened Wonder yet, consider becoming one. We do guided meditations every single week. We have a book club where we're reading Mere Christianity at the moment. You can tell us what you want us to read next. And we do exclusive video content on the most sort of colourful and baroque conspiracies, the ones that excite us most, from Denver Airport to fluoride in the water to JFK, Jesus Warrior 12. I'm pretty sure you'll love it if your incessant mentions of fart or anything to go by. You need some new stimuli up in the old cerebellum, baby. Let's look at Mark Milley. We'll just be available on YouTube for another couple of minutes, then we'll be on that sweet stream of freedom, whose stock prices soar even as censorial nations impose unbelievable sanctions. I'm talking, of course, about Rumble, where we are proud to be housed.
Before we all get self-righteous about what Israel's doing, and I feel horrible for the innocent people in Gaza that are dying, but we shouldn't forget that we, the United States, killed a lot of innocent people in Mosul and Raqqa, that we, the United States, killed 12,000 innocent French civilians, and here we are on the 80th anniversary of Normandy, on the prep fires for Normandy. We destroyed 69 Japanese cities, not including Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We slaughtered people in massive numbers, innocent people who had nothing to do with their government, men, women, and children. War is a terrible thing, but if it's going to have meaning, if it's going to have any sense of morality, it has to be a political purpose, and it must be achieved rapidly with the least cost, and that you do by speed.
Do not complain about our audio. That's simply the best version of that we could acquire. What you should be focused on is not the fact that your ears are bleeding. There are medical solutions for that. I'm sure that even now, Moderna and Pfizer are beavering away, perhaps doing clinical trials on as many as 9 mouses to ensure that your ears will be safe in the future. Focus instead on the content of what Mark Milley, who looks like he'd be sort of all right, he's kind of like Prince Andrew meets Buzz Lightyear. He is saying that the very project of nationalism requires the business of war, and war requires that we shut down our souls, doesn't it? It means we have to shut down our soul. You can't be present to the beauty of the world. And haven't you sort of noticed, really, for your entire life, that it's been a process of erosion, a kind of war against who you really are? That day by day, second by second, moment by moment, you've had to declare sanctions against your innermost being, that you've not been allowed to be free, that you're not allowed to just be part of nature and be part of the world, that you're not able to step outside what the great William Blake would have called man-made manacles. The systems of manipulation and control that are so ubiquitous, they pass as normal. Okay, I'm just going to show you that thing about that portal. Someone says, Cherry Lou 77, just adjust the volume. Yeah, adjust the volume. If something's too loud, adjust the volume. This is like why you don't need censorship. Hang on a minute, I don't agree with Donald Trump. This is crazy. I don't agree that he said, oh, actually, I'm just going to watch something else. There you go. You don't need censorship. Simply put something else on. Put on another thing. Hey, Russell, says Turbo 1980. That song, The Clap. Yeah, I remember that. That was written by Jarvis Cocker out of Pulp, who's a pretty damn good rock star. It's a song I sang when I was in a movie once. Okay, you know that portal, that sort of Stargate that they had between New York and Dublin, and human beings, like the Irish folks, well, not all of them, I guess we focus on the negative. One Irish person just held up a phone with like images of 9/11 on it, and and I feel like someone in New York who might have been an OnlyFans woman like flashed, and they said, right, stop this portal, you can't rely on people, they're flashing down it, they're showing their parts of their body that might typically be covered. They're showing them. They're flashing. Get that out of my portal.
That futuristic structure is a portal to the old world. The portal is a live video link between Manhattan and the city of Dublin in Ireland. It just reopened after some very inappropriate shenanigans. The portal is a place where people are supposed to...
Well, I bet, right, the artist that set up that, it's an art thing, isn't it? It's an art installation. They would have said, and it's not an attack on the artist, we've got to let people freely communicate. It's one world now, a borderless culture where we're all one and we can intercommunicate, right? It'll be something like that. Well, now deal with it. Now deal with it, innit? Deal with it. That's what people have done. They've flashed their breasts and they have shown images of terrible epochal events. You have orange nipples. Oh, yeah, no, that does look like I've got orange nipples. This is what I would do down the portal. Take a look at this, little guys. How about that, huh? I'll give you a portal to another dimension. Look at these sparkling little titty birds. There, is that better? Do you prefer that? Is that nice? I don't have orange breasts. Don't criticise my physical appearance. I wore this when I went on Tucker. This is a nice shirt. Bring back the hat. What hat? Do you mean this hat? This hat? I'll wear the hat if you want. Okay, listen, if you're watching us on YouTube, in a minute we're going to cover... we're going to look at the Trump trial and Michael Cohen's admission that he nicked like $60,000 off Donald Trump. And then look at how Jon Stewart, a comedian who I admire, frames it to sort of make it look as if Donald Trump is extraordinarily lucky. Then we'll be looking at like AIDS-infected blood being sold, which is like kind of, if ever there was a story to make you question the integrity of the pharmaceutical industry, it would be that they, here's the key word, I think, knowingly sold AIDS-infected blood to children. I don't know if I can trust those guys ever again. Now, there's a link in the description over on YouTube, okay? I want you to use that link like a little titty-boo portal in Manhattan to get yourselves over to this place, because here we speak freely. They are part of a set of media organisations and deep state initiatives to ensure that you never awaken. I'm being reductive. Of course, there's brilliant things on YouTube, amazing things on YouTube in lots of ways. I love the place in lots of ways. I love the BBC. But the simple truth is this: if you want the simple truth, come to Rumble. Click the link in the description. Get on over here with us. Let's have a little bit of fun. Go deeper down the portal, dirty little thing that it is, and become an Awaken Wonder, where we provide all sorts of additional content. Click the link. See you in a